name's John Herbert. This is our third video. Before we continue, and it's mainly about Bodmin Moor, I'd like to thank my team, Jason Shaw and Darren Clements. Without these guys, the videos wouldn't exist, because I'm a technophobe, you see, but there you go. Bodmin Moor, it's 80 square miles large. We're going to show you the map. It's a fraction of the size of Dartmoor, which we've spent 2 videos on. 22% the size, so it fits 4 times into Dartmoor. Because of that, it doesn't have quite the same size canvas, and even so, I found 46 ley lines across it, all validated. And you know if you saw the previous videos, and we're going to go into the scoring system again later. The validation is important, otherwise it could be just a coincidence that there's a perfectly straight alignment of old sites. Over six and over, there's no way it could be a coincidence. And there's still some 8s and 2 9s even over Bodmin Moor. Okay, so Bodmin Moor, like Dartmoor, is granite. There's a whole plateau of granite in the southwest. First of all, the largest, of course, is Dartmoor, then there's Bodmin Moor, and further west in Penrith, between Penrith and Land's End, there's another 70 square miles plus of granite plateau. Of course, it's all been weathered down, and it happens again. It goes under the sea and it comes up again at Scilly Isles. There's 4 of the 6 predominant eruptions, if you like, 50 million years ago. Of course, it's all worn down, and what you see is what's left in the way of tors and hills, etc. Bodmin Moor covers about 12 miles in width. Brown Willy is the highest point in Cornwall, it's 420 meters, and next door to it is Router, which is 400 meters. That was the opening picture of Router. The moor was formerly called Fowey Moor, named after its main river, somewhat like, if you like Exmoor is named after the River Exe and Dartmoor after the River Dart. But sometime in 1812 or 1813, the Ordnance Survey changed the name to Bodmin, which of course Bodmin is the main, so it's still the largest town in Cornwall, down to the southwest and the southwest corner of Bodmin Moor. The A30 has a large part to do with Bodmin Moor. It virtually splits the moor in 2. It starts up, if you like, from Launceston. Another 5 miles you get onto the moor, and right the way down so you're going from the northeast to the southwest to almost to Bodmin itself, and it's a barrier, and you can only cross it in 4 places. I know that. So it really does split the moor in 2: the north and west, and the south and east. The north and west is the highest, and that's where we're starting with one of our examples in a while. So here's the map. I've pinned it to some hardboard. So Launceston's up here, and Bodmin is on the map here. This is the OS 109 map, and you can see the red line is the A30. It's dual carriageway still, mostly. The 2 lines we're going to investigate later, you might see the line here coming down, and that's number 4, ley line number 4, and ley line number 10 comes down. So two detailed lines, but more of that later. Okay, so that's the moor. It fits nicely on one map, OS 109. Main towns, of course, we mentioned Launceston, and we've got what is it? It's Liskeard, of course it is. Liskeard down the south, which is off the moor, and on the southwest side of Bodmin, which is off the moor as well. And Camelford is the north, the furthest north west, And the Camel River really does denote the western extremity of the moor. And likewise, the River Fowey, it starts up here, comes down and denotes the southernmost boundary. So there you have it. You've got two sides of the moor. And we're going to start up here a bit later on.
John, could you explain the subtle energy that ley lines connect?
No? Yeah. Yes. Well, it will take ages. I think it's something like 14 pages I've got on the subject. And you need to discuss it with a dowser, and I'm not a dowser, but there is a subtle energy to be had. I was rather a skeptic for a long time about this, but because I've never felt it myself, even cuddling the stones like I do. Let me explain it like this. We've already mentioned granite. Granite is made up of various quartz, for example, crystals of quartz and layers of strips of quartz. We know that quartz can contain energy because they use it as like batteries for watches and small clocks. So yes, it's a battery of sorts. So, but how does it get the energy? Some say it's the lightning strikes. I don't believe that. I think it's the water, water rushing and running across the moorland over the granite, causing some sort of electromagnetic force, like a static, if you like, and that's where it comes. And because granite doesn't allow the seepage of water through it like other rocks such as limestone and chalk. So it holds the water. That's why there's so many marshes and swamps and bogs, which are dangerous at times, on these moors, Dartmoor in particular, but also Bodmin Moor has its bogs, marshes. So be careful if you walk them.
Why haven't you developed ley lines outside of the southwest of England?
Time. It's a matter of time, and given enough time, I've walked the ley line in Derbyshire. Aberlow was the focus of that line with my brother and two friends. We've been across Ilkley Moor, Bartat. I didn't have one, I don't think. And anyway, that was from Keighley to Ilkley, and I remember seeing the swastika stone on the moor. Fantastic. We couldn't get a trace of it because there was barriers around it. So, but we took pictures, of course. So yes, I love the north and Scotland, but it's just a little bit out of touch. It's too far to go and come back the same day for sure. But so is Dartmoor mine. But so I started in the southwest because that's where my part of me belongs. I know because we had 8 years running of holidays when I was a child down in Boscastle, North Cornwall. That's why I have a love of Cornwall from. Anyway, that's I will get round to it. I hope. I've got the maps. Thank you.
Okay. John, Mark, is your barber, I believe, said he didn't understand your scoring system for ley lines. Could you go over it again?
Well, he's a very good barber. You can see his results. Maybe that's not a good advert. I don't know. But this was 2 days ago, and already I need another shave. But there we go. Of course, it can, Mark. I'm very sorry that. But by now because you've asked me this when you were doing the haircut, of course. It's my invention, if you like, my interpretation. Because I didn't really. I am still a skeptic. I didn't really trust that everything was right to include, such as, if you like, springs, some wells. Unless they're holy wells, they're named, they're definitely important, and on the line they would be a major indicator. But so I split them into two groups: minor, subsidiary, but major, main factors, such as holy wells. But of course, we're going to show you a slide with defining the two, and that will come up in due course. Right, so something like an 8+4, for example, means the score is eight main points and 4 minor points. to take note of the first number. The two lines we've got here, one's an 8, one's a 7 plus. So more of that later. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gents, this is the map that you've already seen, and this is ley line number 4, the line drawing. I've got 46 of these. So we start at the top here. There's a road called Router Road, just outside of Camelford, which is off of this map. There's a high point on this road, so you can probably see that most of the road is on the ley line. That's lovely to see. It could be a coincidence, but it's lovely to see. The 2 points in alignment. I do believe that Brown Willy, which the highest point of this line in the whole of Cornwall, of course, is the peak of 420 metres. That would be the initial sighting point. That's where they started, those prehistoric surveyors would have stood there and looked. They'd have noticed that it went very close to the peak of Catshole Tor, and also when it crossed the gap between the two highest points in Router, and conveniently, 2 high points. I mean, that's more than a coincidence, isn't it? If you think about it, but it has to be man-made with the cairn. They built a whole pile of stones here for a sighting point on the side of Brown Willy, and the forward, of course. So the track led to them, and it goes over the ford, which is convenient for parking. That's where the picture was taken from at the beginning of the video. Anyway, it moves down after Brown Willy to Catshole Tor, another cairn, and a third outside of Tolborough, on the edge of Tolborough Tor. Then it goes through a stone. I've got to go and see this stone one day because the books I've read tell me it is a standing stone, what's left of it, and Menhir. I haven't seen it for myself, but it is a main feature point. So far we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 minor points, 1, 2, 3, 4 major points, 5 in fact. Continuing over the A30, of course you'd have to take a detour if you're walking it down to the Jamaica Inn and then back up again. That's another. We're going to include Jamaica Inn in the next video. A little bit further on, there's a chapel called St. Luke's Chapel. It's there in line. How did they do? How did they know where to put it? Because it was on an old site, an ancient site. The real focus of this line is Godeva, stone circle. Goes right through the middle, and then for a high point on the junction, which is a minor point, across Stone Road on a minor point, misses. It hits the edge of a cairn, I think, but it's a minor point. There's not and also misses Long Tom. Now, I have a picture of me next to Long Tom. It's a real menhir. I wondered to begin with whether it was not in situ, and maybe the Christians moved it back. They didn't do that sort of thing. This is really tall. It's 2.5 meters high. And what they did is they Christianized it by carving a wheel head, and other bits and pieces they carved. They must have had a ladder or something to do that, but I don't think they could have moved it. They'd have probably broken it up if they had to move it, but they didn't. So why did it miss? I don't know. But you can't count that. So what we have here is 8 plus 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Miss 1, 8. Plus 6 secondary factors. Even if it was 7, which is not, it's 8. I mean, some people say there's a 12, but it's not. It's an 8 plus 6. 14 miles in length. That's ley line number 4. Thank you. Well, ladies and gents, this is the second line that we're focusing on today. Ley line number 10. It's 9.4 miles long, and the score is 7 plus 6. 7 main points, 6 secondary possible sites, but they've been demoted to second place. 7's enough, 6 is enough actually. It starts up at between 201 metre high junction of a crossroad. And then it goes through Alton Church and Cross, and yet another smaller church further down in the village, through the centre of 5 lanes, and that's literally 5 lanes, well known as the fantastic pub there. Then it hits the focus point, 9 stones. We have it's a lay centre. We have a picture, a slide which we're going to include in a moment on the 9 stones, showing you there's 5 ley lines going through the 9 stones. For example, there's number 36 here. Beautiful 9 stones. It's also known as Alton Stone Circle. And then there's a outlying pile of stones, a cairn, online, pointing the way. Goes over the very peak of Trewertha Tor, 318 metres high peak. Then it goes across 12 Man's Moor and through a minor peak on Kilmar Tor. It's part of the way down the ridge, which isn't the peak. Mrs. Langstone Downs hits the most important barrow on Bodmin Moor, Rialton, and there's a story behind that. They excavated it and they found a gold cup, which was lost. It's now in the British Museum. They found it, and theory has it one of our kings was using it as a shaving mug, nice shaving mug. But it's in the British Museum now, and it's known as the Rialton Cup. That's really the main point at the south. But does it hit a cairn? I can't prove it hits it perfectly. And then a zigzag. Now, what's a zigzag? A zigzag's a pair of roads that's got a 90-degree turn, 2 in fact, and we call it zigzag. So you have 1 major point, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's where I finished it because I don't believe the cairn is hit perfectly. A little bit of a road doesn't count. It's a plus. So 7 plus 6, quite a nice line. We're coming to the end of video number 3. There is a 4th, and it's going to be on Cornwall, the lay centres of Cornwall. This shows you, I've got 4 volumes of lay centres. Cornwall includes Bodmin Moor, Devon includes Dartmoor, and we're going to put Somerset and Exmoor together because without and Dorset together. So 3 and 4 would be 1 video. At the moment, it's two volumes, probably going to be 1, just because otherwise it's too small. And as before, I'm still trying to get my head round assembling a book on the crossroads of Great Britain, England to begin with. And I've got a few very nice stones in marketplaces pictured, but I need a couple of dozen at least, and 5 is not enough. So that's what's coming next. Thank you for viewing. Ring the bell, subscribe if you want to, please, and give it a thumbs up. Bye.